my favorite striker in the women's division right now. And she's incredible. Really is the best way to put it. Manon, she kind of has it all.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hurt Business Podcast. As always, I'm one half of the host, Ferris, Big Hurt Sharari, and I'm joined today by my co-host,
Badman. What's up, G?
What up, gang? How we doing today?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. A good day. Got some work done.
Yes,
Worked
sir.
out today.
You watched Dune 2 recently?
I have, man. I have.
What you think?
I thought it was good, man. It was excellent.
Don't give no spoilers.
The thing. No, I won't give anything too crazy. It's just way more in depth than the first one was. It's an excellent continuation. I just thought everything was so well put together. Like the first movie was great. I thought it was excellent too. Just a little slow, a little bit slower for my taste. I like slow movies. If you know, Interstellar is my favorite movie ever. But that takes an hour into Interstellar for it to get going. Literally an hour on the dot, the movie really gets going. But with Dune, the first one, dude, it took like half the fucking movie to get going. So it was a slow start, but 2, man, it's right at the jump, man.
Yeah.
Right at the jump, all the way to the end. It has a little moments in there where it's a little slow, but then it's nonstop, like towards the end. It's great. I loved it.
Yeah, agreed. I'm
excited for the third one.
Yeah, and they set it up beautifully for the third one, where it can go in so many different directions. You're wondering about this person and this character and this character.
Yeah.
The storyline was awesome. I agree too about the first one. It was so boring until like it clicked, and that was like with 30 minutes left of the movie, and that was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second one I feel like was so much better than the first, and there's almost like. Yeah, no comparison. The first one was a lot of like story and like information and like learning
world building.
Yeah, so it kind of you kind of needed that to have such a good second one, but they fucking nailed it.
Yeah,
they fucking nailed it.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great setup into the second movie. Like I love movies like that where they build you up for that second movie, and I thought they did a great job at that. And then the second movie just took off. Like I was in my seat the whole time. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like this is crazy. Like the cinematography was great, the sound effects were great, the music was great, the action was great. It was just perfect. I thought this was like a perfect movie, and it's definitely the best movie to come out this year so far. So we'll have to see what else comes out, but yeah, definitely movie of the year.
Well said.
Right now.
Yeah, agreed. And that's a good place to end on that note. And transitioning into a UFC Atlantic City this weekend down in Jersey headline. And I kind of am fascinated about this main event because the conversation we're about to have around it. Because it kind of feels like I'm team Erin, and I know you love Manon, so you're team Fiorot in this situation. So I'm excited about that. But of course, there's a heavy co-main event with Vicente and Buckley. That's a banger. The card has so many fun matchups. A couple of cartel guys making their UFC debut, which is insanely exciting for a fan of New England MMA. And especially a guy like Connor Matthews, who's dug it out the dirt and really like had a fight in front of Dana multiple times to really earn and solidify his spot. And that guy is like the salt of the earth, man. That guy gives people his time like no other. And he's a good time, good conversation. I've had him on the show a few times, and yeah, I'm excited to watch him throw down. Of course, he's having my guy Pete Luciani in his corner. First time Pete takes a big stage in the UFC. And me and him were in the DMs this week, and he was like, I kind of got to tone it down, don't I? And Pete, if you're listening to this, dude, fuck that. You go full throttle. You show America like who you are, because that's really what needs to be shown. He's that kind of guy. And we had an awesome episode a few weeks ago. If you haven't already, check out that episode. It's on the YouTube channel and anywhere else you're listening. You can find it. Rated 5 stars while you're there. But yeah, man, fun card in Atlantic City. But let's talk about this main event. Tell me, what are your thoughts heading into it as a Fiorot fan?
I mean, well, as I've said, that was a great opening, a great transition. I'm a fan of both of these girls. I was big on Erin Blanchfield when she started her UFC debut. I thought she was phenomenal. in her debut, and I was excited to kind of continue to see her journey throughout the UFC. And she's had a phenomenal journey so far. You know, undefeated, has fought some great competition, but she's got a really really tough opponent in front of her, man. Somebody who's really going to put a pace on her. My favorite striker in the women's division right now, especially in these flyweights, man. She's incredible. Really is the best way to put it. Manon, she kind of has it all, man. She's got the takedown defense, you know, incredible striker. She's got power. You know, she's put out Tabitha Ritchie. You know, what was her name? Leonarda in her UFC debut. She's great, man. She can kind of do everything, mix it up very well, and she, like I said, she's excellent on the ground too. You know, this is exactly who you want to see against Erin Blanchfield, who is in her regard, excellent all around too. Like Erin is super underrated on the feet. You know, we know her for her submission game and her grappling inside the UFC mostly, but she came from a kickboxing background. Like she's an excellent kickboxer, man. Probably one of the best in this division too. And she has a real test on Saturday. So it'll be tough, man, because, you know, Manon, she's, you know, had some great grapplers in there, you know, some of the best in there. But this is a real test. I think Erin Blanchfield is one of the toughest in here as far as grappling, you know, alongside Alexa Grasso, the champion. Yeah. Phenomenal, man. Phenomenal fight we have. It's going to be tough to judge this because, one, these two, you know, Manon, who's excellent on the ground, you know, great takedown defense, can hang with the best two, Brazilian black belt, and Erin, who's kind of good in that regard as well. It can go either way, man. This could be a fight on the feet. I would imagine Manon would want to keep this on the feet. Erin's a little tighter, I feel like, with the grappling and the submissions. She's very slick, man. She puts everyone out when she gets to the bottom. So I wouldn't want to test myself with her. Apparently, she thinks that it won't be a hard test for her, according to Manon, which is really interesting for me. I love the attitude though, but I think that it would probably be tough for her down there. So I would say she would want to keep this on the feet. I would say she's a little bit tighter on the feet than Erin Blanchfield is. She just puts it together the best. I feel like she just puts it so well together. Her combinations are flourished. Like, she's so fluid on the feet. She doesn't waste any punches. And that power, man, she's just insane power. So I think it'll be a tough night for Erin on the feet, and it'll be a tough night for Manon on the ground. Who am I going with though, man? I don't know. This is tough. A tough one I had to go with. I think Erin would get it done here, man.
Wow.
I think if she gets Manon down, I think it'll be a very, very scary situation. I think no matter how good you are on the ground, I think if you have a skilled person like Erin on the ground with you, I think there's nothing you can do, man. And she showed that time and time and time.
Yeah.
But if she keeps us on the feet, I think she can hang in there. I think she can definitely hang in there. But I think Manon will definitely be better towards the later rounds. She showed excellent cardio. She showed power in the later rounds. She's knocked people out in the first round. I think it would be a very short night for Erin if they stayed on the feet. So in that regard, man, I always say this, man. I have to go with the more dominant wrestler in a 5-round fight, man. I just think that Erin will find a way to get her down and, I don't know, possibly get a submission. Who knows? But I just think she's a little bit better on the ground, and I don't think she's gonna want to keep this standing, man. I don't think she doesn't want to keep any of her fights standing.
Yeah.
So I think that's her full intention. But it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough taking her down. So we'll see. Yeah. But I'm going Erin, man. I'm going Erin.
Interesting. And I totally did not expect you to go Erin, especially when I set it up as you being the Manon fan. But I'm
a huge fan of her.
Yeah, no.
Both of these girls.
I agreed with almost everything you said in terms of Manor's gifted striking and Erin's gifted grappling. It's clear they both have their game plan. One wants to get it to the ground as fast as possible, and the other wants to stay on the feet as much as they can. But the question I have is Manor's takedown defense as good as it is that enough to hold off Erin Blanchfield 4 or 5 rounds?
No, definitely not. It's definitely not enough. I feel like eventually she will get her to the ground. It'll be a matter of time. She might get hit with a couple shots here and there, which is why I think it'll be a scary night for her if she can't get this girl down.
Yeah.
But with that being said, just 25 minutes to do it, and if she can get her down once, just one time, it's lights out, man. Like, she will submission hunt the entire 5 minutes she's down there, or whatever time she has when she gets her down, and she will find a way. She always does.
Yeah.
And that's not something you can bet against. That's a tough one. But Manon's got great takedown defense, man. She rarely gets taken down.
But it's tough. It's tough through 5 rounds, right? Through 25 minutes with a gifted grappler. That's a really,
tough.
really tough task to complete, especially whenever you said Manon has great cardio, and I would almost counter argue that because her last one against Rose, she looked so dominant in the first, so dominant in the second. And then in the third, she looked like clearly she wore out and she was just waiting for the fight to end. And that's not a good sign, especially like when grappling conditioning is way different than like standing on the feet with Rose type of conditioning. So I just wonder for Minora's gas tank is one, and two, when Erin Blanchfield gets it to the ground, how does she react? What's it look like on the ground? We haven't really seen her down there much, so a lot of question marks surrounding that. But I agree with your pick. I agree with the choice. I'm going with the favorite as well, Erin Blanchfield. And I think Erin Blanchfield is the next champ, dude. I know that they're building Grasso versus Valentino, which you know how much I love Valentina, but it's like she lost twice. What's up?
I have no comment on that, but
I you know how much I love Valentina, but it's like, come on. There's Erin Blanchfield. Like if she finishes Minora on Saturday, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's a tough matchup for Grasso. So I firmly stand on the hill that Erin Blanchfield will be the next women's flyweight champ of the UFC after she gets past Minor and solidifies that number 1 contender spot.
Manon.
What did I say?
You've been saying Minor the whole
Minor. I combined the first and last name. Yeah, Manon, man. She respect to her too. She's really putting women's MMA on the map in France. She's a gifted striker. That's really a fun style to watch in climb those rankings. And she beat up Rose, man. That was something we usually don't see. We don't see that happen. So she's official.
Rose did have a nice bounce back though this past weekend.
That's worth mentioning, wasn't it?
Yeah, she put a great pace on Amanda Ribas. I know we don't really talk about that at all. But that was a great fight too. She needed that redemption win. I was a little worried for her in that fight too. She looked a little off. The pace wasn't up to the standards of a typical Rose fight. She got hit in the head with a leg kick and dropped. Like, it was I was a little worried for her, but she came out on top. She looked good. It was a good fight. It's not the best fight we've seen out of Rose. You know what I mean? So
this is kind of bad.
I don't know what her. I just don't know where her future is in flyweight. I don't know if she fits well, but I don't know if the power in this weight division she can handle that.
Yeah.
Some of these girls are hurting her, man.
Yeah, I agree. And Erin was making a great point on an interview this week. She was like that it's different for like Rose to move up 10 pounds to a different weight class, given her body size and composition, versus like Israel Adesanya moving up a weight class to compete for another. Like, it's different because he's only putting on 5% of his body weight versus Rose might have put on like 15% or something like that.
Yeah.
So
he's also a man.
Yeah, that part too. But also it's still it's the same. Like, it's not like we're judging a cat and a mouse. Like, it's still the same species.
Yeah. No. It's just a little bit different. Comparing apples to pears.
Yeah, I thought it was a great point. I never thought about it like that. So who knows? Maybe Rose's best is at a smaller weight class. Maybe she
Yeah.
figures out and turns it around. Maybe she reconnects with Trevor Whitman. Maybe that's what's been missing. Questions.
She's just
Questions.
getting old, man. Maybe she's just getting
Maybe
old.
that. Yeah, maybe that part. Sad.
Yeah.
But speaking of getting old, Vicente Luque. My bad, Vicente. My bad. Speaking of bangers, absolute fight of the night written all over it. Vicente Luque, Joaquin Buckley. I know you had some things to say before we got on here about this
I
matchup.
had absolutely nothing to say
You were
about
so
the two
excited
opponents.
about this one. What do you mean?
It's
And I quote, is this what we've come to? So
That's
please
pretty
explain.
funny. No, it's just I don't know, man. When I think of a Vicente Luque fight, man, I'm thinking of some of these guys he's fought in the past, man. It's like there's nothing wrong with a Joaquin Buckley. I'm not coming at Joaquin Buckley. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him. He's fight of the night written all over him. He's got some of the most exciting fights. He basically was like a highlight reel during COVID. Him and what's his face? Goddamn.
Holland.
Holland, yeah. They had a good fight together, and he had a pretty dramatic KO during COVID too. And he's been an exciting fight ever since, man. He got a really nice KO on Andre Fiallo, who was a top prospect at one point. Went over Alex Bruno. So he's in the mix. It's not. I'm not looking at this like, all right, why the fuck is he fighting Vicente Luque? Vicente Luque is at this point a gatekeeper for these welterweights. That's all it really is at this point, man. Exciting fighter, very tough fighter. Not as durable as he used to be, man. He's been on a slope, man. He's been on a very tight slope. And it's always a strange fight with Vicente Luque because you never know what to expect. Is he going to get knocked out or is he going to punish some of these guys? He was the punisher at one point. Literally, maybe even a year and a half ago, 2 years. He was the guy. He was
Really
the
was.
punisher. He was supposed to fight for a UFC title. And it just went downhill from there. So I just look at this fight. I'm like, it's an exciting fight, a really fun one to throw in a parlay because we know how these fights are going to end. It's going to be a knockout between one of these guys, and I'm not betting on Vicente Luque. I think Joaquin Buckley is going to put a pace on him. He's going to hurt him. He's going to take the old man out, man.
Taking Buckley?
I'm taking Buckley, man. He's knocking this dude out, man. I'm sorry. He's getting old, man. He's getting old. He's trying to find his place in the UFC. I get it, but he's just not as durable as he used to be, man.
Yeah, that is true. But like, he's been in some bangers, right? Bangers. Yeah. And you look at like the level of competition he's faced in his last 10 fights, and it's
excellent
like all ranked highly. It's like really, really good guys. So it's like I almost take that criticism with a grain of salt, Like you can't be mad at him for losing to a Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, he's the gatekeeper, man. If you can't beat Vicente, you're not ready for the top 10.
Is he the Neil Magley?
He's the Neil Magley. He's the.
That's crazy. He got a number by his name still. I thought he was a few fights away from that, but
man, I don't know. He might be losing that number on Saturday.
Yeah, giving it up to
Joaquin.
Buckley.
Yeah, I see it happening, man. He's just not as durable, man.
It's definitely a big fight. Definitely a big fight for Joaquin, but I think I'm gonna go Vicente.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Vicente. I understand the past few fights. I mean, he is coming off a win. Let's not forget about that. He did beat Dos Anjos, full 5 rounds, 5-5. It's not the most entertaining fight. Like I barely remember anything that happened in that fight, and it only happened like last year.
We remember everything that happens in Joaquin's fights.
Do I?
We do.
Yeah.
We remember what he did to Andre Fiallo. We won't forget that.
Yeah, that was bad.
He put that guy into the hospital. That was bad.
That was bad news. Yeah, that was a beating through like the duration of the fight, which is which is worse. But yeah, I'm going Vicente. I think his original matchup in this fight was Sean Brady, and I think they were headlining originally,
Yeah.
which is a way
better fight.
better fight, but tougher matchup for Vicente.
Yeah.
Tougher matchup. So he's like, all right, going against a fun striker, I'm gonna just play my cards right. And I think like at their best, at their peak, Vicente is way better than Joaquin.
Yeah, no doubt.
Way
But
better than Joaquin.
he's taking some beatings, man. He's faced the best of the best.
He's still only 32.
He is only 32,
Like, that's not
but
that old.
that shin, man, is just questionable, man. Walkley hits like a fucking freight train, so
Yeah.
I'm going to
he
Walkley.
does. It'll be a fun fight, man. I'm going Vicente. I stand on it.
All right. Well, I'll text you when Vicente's not looking too well, man. When he's not looking too well.
All right.
Hey, man. How's Vicente looking? Hey, Earth to Ferris. How's that parlay?
Silence from the chat.
Anyway.
Chris Weidman, Bruno Silva. Any picks?
I'm going Bruno Silva. Straight off the rep. Love Chris Weidman. Legend in the sport. He's facing a killer, man. Let's be honest. He's facing a very, very tough opponent. Yeah. And he's looked questionable, man. He's had that really tough injury a few years ago. And I don't think he's looked the best since. That's a tough one to come back from, man. That leg was. I can still hear that noise, man. Yeah, I can still hear it. Bad. That noise has not. That was bad too, man. It's like I really wish he stopped fighting after that. But I won't ever. Who am I? I won't ever question a guy's will to keep fighting. He loves the sport, so keep at it, man. But this is a fucking guy, man. This is a guy who loves kicking legs. He loves punching hard, and he loves knocking people out. So, 39 years of age.
Tough matchup. Tough matchup, man. And this could. What if this is like the one at the end where he lays his gloves down in the middle of the octagon? I mean, it's not far from his hometown. What if he calls it quits after this?
Yeah, could very much well be the case here. This is in Jersey.
Jersey.
Wow, yeah. I could very much well see that. But do you want to hang your gloves up against Bruno Silva? Probably not.
I mean,
probably not. You want to end this on one where you don't get knocked out.
So you think he gets knocked out?
He gets knocked out out of absolute respect to Chris Weidman.
Yeah.
And just out of pure faith in Bruno Silva. I think Bruno Silva gets a win here, and I think it'll be a knockout.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chris Weidman for the story.
He had a tough one against Alex Pereira. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
He went toe to toe with Pereira, man.
Yeah,
that says something. That says something.
Yeah, that was also what Pereira's like third MMA fight.
Yeah, but Pereira's Pereira, man. That's like years and years of kickboxing right there. World championship level fighters. That's his third fight in the UFC, but that ain't his third fight. Ain't his third rodeo. Yeah. Where are we getting into, man? This is Alex Pereira. This guy's in the he's the light heavyweight champion. It's not even relevant in the middleweights anymore.
I don't even matter. He's going to get knocked out by Alex.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. Man,
he's about to lose.
You think, Jamal? All right, man. All right. Let's
continue on this card. There's some really bangers on this one, man. I'm excited about a bunch of these fights. We're not going to talk about every single one of them.
Let's get into the New England Cartel guys, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about them for a second. Dennis Bazookas fighting our guy, New England's guy, Connor Matz. And from what I know about Dennis, he trains over with Aljamain Sterling and those guys in New York. So he comes from a good gym. Ray Longo's his head coach, so obviously he knows what he's doing. But on the other side of the stick, he's fighting a gangster from New England, Connor Matthews, the controller, who, again, I said it at the intro, the guy fought 3 times in front of Dana White to solidify his spot in the UFC, twice in the Contender Series, and one for Dana White looking for a fight in Boston. And in the Boston one, he submitted the guy in the first round. That should have been enough to get him this fight in the UFC, but Dana was like, nah, do one more. So he goes on to the Dana White Contender Series and waxes this this like 6'5" Brazilian dude, just beats him up, kickboxer, just whoops on him for 3 rounds, earns him this spot in front of a UFC audience. I couldn't be more excited for Conor, man. I really couldn't. I spent some time in the mom's basement a few weeks ago, and just being around those guys is special, man. That's somebody who I'm really hoping the best for, and I hope he goes out there and shines, bro. Now that's kind of what I'm expecting. His corners stacked. He has the legendary duo of Tyson Chartier, head coach. I'm sorry, coach / manager, and then the striking coach and Jake Manini, who I've had both on the show. Incredible guys, man. Great to talk to. I'm taking Conor if it's not clear enough. I got Conor in this fight.
Yeah.
No questions about it.
Yeah. I'm going to go Conor as well, just out of the fact that he's fighting a young kid, 26-year-old kid. Just not a – I know you mentioned Aljamain Sterling. He trains with them. I just don't really pay much stock into this guy. He had a very tough first fight into the UFC against Shad Winshid, a very long, awkward fighter. So that one was a little bit of a tough one, I would say. He got beat pretty bad, though, by Sean. But Jamal Emmers, man, he got his second fight into the UFC, man. Didn't really take much time off, man. He took a beating and then came back a few months later, man, and fought a Jamal Emmers, a guy who's, he's been in there with some tough guys. He's a veteran, he fought Giga Chikadze. It's just his most credible fight, not a win, but he's a vet, man, and he hasn't really had much of a streak, man. He's not a guy I pay much stock to get knocked out by a guy like that in 49 seconds in the first round. It's a little tough, man, going into a fight like this where with the controller who's also a veteran and not new to this as well. So I'm gonna roll with him. I think he'll get the win done and take that back to New England.
Hell yeah, brother. Bring it home. Also a guy I'm open to bring it home. Angel Pacheco opening up the card, and a banger, man. What a match made up here against a young guy from Ireland who was in another banger in his last one. I think he's coming off a few wins, which is a great setup for a guy like Angel who's coming off a loss in his Dana White Contender Series fight. So that just goes to show you how nasty this, like, he lost his fight and he still secured the contract. Some guys win their fight, finish their fights, and don't get the contract. So Angel's a bad dude, and I'm wishing the best for him, and I'm also rolling with him again, man. I'm all Cartel this weekend.
Yeah, I've never heard of Angel. He's new guy to me. I do know of Cowlin, another young guy. Don't pay too much stock into this type of fight, man. He had a good fight against Taylor. He was, I don't know, man, the type of guy, man. He was just doing too much wrestling hunting, man. Just wasn't able to put it together. Couldn't really put the striking together against Taylor. It was kind of a close fight, but the guy tried to stick with the wrestling. The wrestling wasn't working. Just I haven't seen enough from him, man. Haven't seen enough from him, and I'm gonna roll with Angel, man, just because he's a New England guy. So I'm on the boat. I'm on the boat, baby.
Hell yeah, let's fucking go. All right, man. Fun card in UFC Atlantic City. Be sure to watch the fights. Hopefully, everybody listening bets successfully. Josh, you said you retired, so I'm not gonna wish you the best. I know you're not betting this weekend.
Who knows how long that'll last, man?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I know UFC 300's around the corner. I know you're gambling on that card.
Yeah, I gotta put the gloves down for a little bit, man. I'll pick them back up soon.
Respect.
I'll pick them back up.
before we get up out of here, bro, a crazy banger got announced today.
Oh yeah,
A banger of a fight for Saudi, a fight night in Saudi, which I was a little surprised about. I thought they were going to go pay-per-view route, but they went fight night. And honestly, a pay-per-view level main event was given. A number one contender for the middleweight strap, Khamzat Chimaev, Rob Whittaker. What did you think when you first seen those tweets in that matchup circulating?
I honestly, man, is Rob Whittaker's that guy, man. You know, I will always respect him. He takes the toughest fights. He doesn't say no to anybody. You know, he got that call and was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like nobody does that, man. That's unreal to take a fight with Khamzat Chimaev. You know, the boogeyman of the UFC right now. You know, yeah, I mean, and for Khamzat, this was about time we got to see him back in there. We haven't seen him since Gilbert, which was a slug banger of a fight, you know. But it's time he got back in there, man. You know, Gilbert's had 2 fights since then, not fights that ended in his, you know, the way he wanted to, but you know, he put up a good fight with one arm against Bilal, and you know, he was winning 2 rounds in that last fight, man, against the Aussie. So, and then unfortunately got knocked out in that last round. Gilbert's still around, man. So tough guy. But
I just checked because I was like, no way Gilbert was his last fight. He's fought twice since that.
Has he?
Yeah. Not a fact check. I hate to be that guy. He fought Kevin Holland.
I completely forgot that fight even happened.
Yeah, you remember that one where that crazy, he couldn't make weight. He was supposed to fight Nate Diaz, couldn't make weight. They switched that whole card all around. Yeah. That sucked. And then he fought Kamaru. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, Kamaru. Yeah,
he got the nod, which I thought Khamzat won that one. But if there were 2 more rounds, I thought Kamaru was really coming on.
Yeah, because Kamaru's he's a pace type of fighter. He'll get going later in the rounds, and he fought well in that second and that third round, and we just didn't get to see enough. Yeah, some of these fights are just really, they come and go for me. Like I completely forgot he even fought Holland. Like that fight doesn't even exist in my. It doesn't even exist in my life. It
lasted like 2 minutes, dude. It wasn't even a real fight. It didn't even really get going. But yeah, the Reaper, man, what a gangster Robert Whittaker is. Just accepting any name that came across his desk and coming off a great fight with Paulo Costa. Like that was such a good fight, and he could have took the Dustin Poirier approach and was like, I'm gonna just hang on to my number and wait for a title opportunity. He could have did that. Mm-hmm. But here he is saying, nah, fuck that. Give me the biggest wolf in the division, the boogeyman, as you described him, Josh. The man who you world think is going to be the next world champion. And not only that, but I'll fight him in his home region, in like the place where they'll scream for him louder than anywhere on this planet. So I think Rob's a gangster, man. I love this fight. I think it's going to be a thriller of a go, and I think I might be leaning towards Rob.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Hamza on this one, man. It hasn't even happened yet. We haven't even gotten closer to the fight date. Yeah. I think I'm probably, even when we get close to the fight date, I'm probably gonna go Hamza, to be honest. I've been the
wrestler, man.
I know I said I know I've said like Hamza has like a weird rise in the UFC. You know, he's been around for long enough. He's fought some of the best guys right now, but still no champion. You know, he hasn't fought, for a title. It's just kind of odd to me how slow they're building him up,
Khamzat?
Yeah. He did fight a former champion, but I don't know. I was expecting a Colby Covington here, man, or something. Rob's cool. It's a good fight, but I'd rather see him go back to welterweight, man. Fight Colby Covington. Try to get that championship at welterweight, but not by any means upset by this fight. I think it's a great fight, but Yeah, he just has no chance if he fights middleweight. Israel Adesanya's here. He'll starch him, and then that'll be that. Back to welterweight.
It was a little weird to me that Dana White called this the number one contender fight, because then I'm like, what do you do with Izzy? Does that mean
That
Izzy's
makes
already have like a fight booked like
that
behind
makes
the scenes? Is he already fighting for the belt? And the winner of this is fighting the winner of him and Duplessis? Is that what's
that's kind of
happening?
my guess. Yeah, he's essentially just saying the person that wins this fights for the title. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything for Izzy, because that could mean, like you said, Izzy has a fight lined up, and it could very much well be with Duplessis, which makes sense. Makes sense. We wouldn't want to see Izzy versus Sean again. Sean doesn't have a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Sean,
Yeah.
but
I thought they were gonna go the Rob Whittaker versus Sean route. I thought that was the matchup they were gonna make. I did.
and honestly, you can do
Two
anything.
former world champs. Like it sets up
Yeah.
a championship next. So it's kind of I love this matchup way more.
Yeah.
Him versus Khamzat. That's a way better fight to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a little bit of a mix-hap with the rankings and stuff, man. Like, we've had Khamzat come in and out of this weight division. We got Alex Pereira moving up, and so there's just been complications there with who's where and where they belong in this division. But I think it's finally correcting itself, and we'll get that Izzy versus Duplessis, and then the winner of this definitely will be title contender. There's no reason why Rob Whittaker, a win over Khamzat, wouldn't fight for a title. And there's no reason Khamzat fighting Rob Whittaker, who's on a 3-fight win streak, wouldn't fight for the title as well. So
Khamzat's on a 13-fight win streak.
Yeah,
undefeated.
Yeah, I'm talking about Rob Whittaker, though. He's on a little bit of a streak.
Yeah,
we know Khamzat's on a streak, man. He's doing his thing.
What a resume! What two opponents it'll be if Khamzat gets past Rob. Like, imagine he beats Rob, he beats Kamaru in his past 2 fights. It's title shot ready, man.
Yeah, he's definitely got a resume on deck for sure. Time to get him in there, though. Time to get him in there with the absolute best in the division. Slow build up, but we're here. We're there.
We're here for a slow build up, man. For a great finish is always how that works, right?
Yes.
All right, brother. Speaking of finish, this is where we wrap up the show. Unless there's any other fights on this card, on anything else happening this weekend you want to touch on?
I wanted to get into this Oscar Valdez, man.
Please.
I'll just mention he's not really fighting anybody important. The rankings put them together for the simple fact that they both lost to Emmanuel Navarrete. Liam, he's a fighter out of Australia. I kind of like him. I like the guy. I like both of these guys. So they're putting them together after their loss to Emmanuel Navarrete. Emmanuel Navarrete finished Liam in that 9th round, and Oscar Valdez went on to fight Emmanuel Navarrete in his last bout, which he unfortunately lost. Had a win over Adam Lopez, which was right after his loss to Shakur Stevenson. He's just been on a tight slope now, so Liam Wilson is the appropriate fight for this guy, but it's just kind of crazy to see 2 losses and this guy's like trying to find his position in this division now, man. The super featherweights are getting to the best of him, but it is a championship fight. Oscar Valdez is fighting Liam Wilson, WBO interim super featherweight champion. Man, I mean, Oscar Valdez, he's just in a tough spot, man. After that last fight with Emmanuel Navarrete, man, I don't even know my spot anymore. And personally, man, he was hitting Emmanuel with left hooks in that fight. That was an excellent fight, man. But he was cracking him with left hooks, and Emmanuel was not going down, man. I can't imagine how defeating that is, to have your best weapon just be completely neutralized. 2 fights, man. 2 fights now against Shakur Stevenson, which he was, ultimately defenseless and really didn't have a jab, but that left hook was just not connecting against Shakur. And to finally have it connect again across 2 fights, can't put this guy down, is just a testament to Emmanuel Navarrete. But it's just like, damn, what's going on with me? So I imagine he's extremely frustrated. So I don't know. I like the guy. I think it's a great fight. There's no other boxing on, but it'll be a great fight. I think I'm gonna go Oscar Valdez in this one. I think that left hook will finally make its way home to him, and he'll finally get a knockout again and get on that high horse, man. But it's tough, man. If I might go watch that fight again. That was a beautiful fight against Manuel Navarrete, cracking this dude with the left hooks. Nothing. Manuel Navarrete was walking him down. He was like, "I'm eating those. Sorry, you're not winning this one, buddy." And it was just a great fight. Really, two tough Mexicans, man. Just classic fight, instant classic. But yeah, I'm gonna go Oscar. I haven't given up hope on him, man. He had my favorite knockout a few years ago. I still like the guy.
Yeah. If there's nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I must
Don't
say
say
that knockout was fucking awesome.
It was.
It was awesome.
And he's been searching for it since.
Yeah, he really has. And it hasn't really gone his way. So I'm hoping for your sake, for his sake, for the sake of his career, that it happens for him against who's he fighting? Liam,
yeah.
Liam what? I never heard Liam
Wilson. He hasn't had too many credible fights.
He's
like
only
he fought Navarrete. Yeah, he fought Navarrete, which is his best fight. And he got put down in that 9th round. He put Navarrete down too.
Yeah,
Navarrete has never been put down, so that was surprising to see Liam do that. So he's got a little bit of power in him, man. He's got a little power in him. But I think Oscar's just a much better fighter. He's gonna get a knockout here.
Any
Navarrete put him out.
Yeah. Any picks on the real main event? On the real fight on that card?
Man, I love Sneeze Estrada, but you got to move up a couple weight classes, man. You got to move up, man. I used to love her fights, man, but she's just like fighting fucking mosquitoes, dude. Like, let's get some meat on those bones, man. Let's get some exciting fights going, man. You know, I don't know, man. Some of these girls just can't really put the weight on. I understand that. So you just take it for what it is. But she's just beating these women. It's just not doing it for me anymore.
Yeah.
Great fighter, though. Definitely a pound for pound fighter, for sure. Without a doubt, but yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, man. You know, Ferris, you know.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, that's where we wrap it up. Thank you so much to the listeners if you made it to this part of the podcast. Josh and I greatly appreciate the support. Please follow us on all the socials at the HB Pod on Insta. Subscribe on the YouTube, shop the shirts, shophbp.com. Everything's available. I got a 25% off every shirt, every order, and free shipping until the end of Ramadan, which we have about 10 more days. So get on that shit, people. Get on it. Josh already ordered 5 tees. Get on it. All right, we'll catch you next time. Enjoy the fights this weekend.